The miracle of synchronicity, aligning with your true path. One of the most profound experiences of choosing yourself is that things begin to align in a way that feels almost magical. Jung referred to this phenomenon as synchronicity, the idea that when you align with your true essence, the world begins to respond in kind. Suddenly, opportunities that once seemed impossible open up to you. New people enter your life, people who understand and support your journey. The challenges that once felt insurmountable now seem manageable. It's as if the universe, or perhaps your inner self, has conspired to bring you exactly what you need to grow. But it's important to understand that synchronicity does not mean that the path will be smooth or free from obstacles. On the contrary, you may face moments of doubt, times when the old and the new collide within you. You may encounter people who challenge your newfound sense of self or face fears that resurface from your past. However, it is in these moments of doubt and challenge that you must trust what you feel. If life begins to flow more naturally, if doors begin to open with ease, and if the people you meet seem to be exactly what you need at that moment, it is not a coincidence. It is a sign that you are on the right path. Jung taught us that when you choose to live authentically, the world responds. The energies around you begin to realign, and you find yourself moving toward what you truly need, not what you thought you wanted or what others thought you should have. Reflection, embracing the pain of transformation. Choosing yourself is not easy. It's a journey filled with internal conflict, moments of loneliness, and the fear of facing the unknown. At first, it may seem like an incredibly isolating experience. You might feel alone, unsure of your place in the world. But loneliness, in this context, is not your enemy. It is a space for you to rediscover who you truly are, to heal from past wounds, and to rebuild your life in a way that aligns with your deepest desires. When you begin to embrace loneliness, you'll discover that it's not an absence, but an opportunity, a space full of potential. It is here, in this space, that the real transformation begins. You will rediscover passions and desires that you had buried long ago. You will begin to love your own company and realize that you no longer need to fill your life with toxic relationships or situations that do not serve you. This is the moment when true freedom arises. You're no longer seeking someone or something to complete you because, for the first time, you realize that you are already complete. Personal insight, the true power of choosing yourself. There is a simple but powerful truth that emerges when you choose yourself. You are enough, always have been, always will be. And when you embrace this truth, everything begins to change. You no longer need the validation of others because you have finally validated yourself. This is not to say that you will not face challenges. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when the voices of the past try to pull you back. But in those moments, trust the process. Trust your inner wisdom. Because when you choose yourself, you align with your true essence, and that is where true power lies. Imagine waking up one day only to realize that the life you're living isn't truly yours. It's a striking moment of awakening, one that shatters the illusion we've lived with for years. Every decision you've made, every sacrifice you've endured, and every mask you've worn, these were all meant to fit into the expectations of others, not your own. Yet deep inside, there's a voice, a silent whisper, long drowned out by responsibilities, the constant quest for approval, and the fear of disappointing others. But what if, just for once, you could choose to listen to that voice? What if you could decide to prioritize yourself, your truth, and your essence above all else? This is not a simple decision. It's a profound revolution within yourself. And once you make this choice, nothing will ever be the same again. Carl Jung, one of the most profound thinkers of modern psychology, once said that the most important journey we can embark on is the journey within. It is in the exploration of the inner self that we find our true path. But here's the truth. Choosing yourself is not easy. It requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to confront the fears that have been holding you back. In fact, it can feel like an act of rebellion against the very life you've built, one that has been crafted based on the approval of others. Yet, the moment you make that decision to choose yourself, you step into a new world, a world where transformation begins. The awakening, realizing you've been living for others. There comes a moment in life when, without warning, something shifts inside of you. It's a realization, a quiet yet powerful awareness that you've been living a life that doesn't belong to you. You spent years saying yes when you want to say no, silencing your desires to meet the expectations of others, seeking approval instead of authenticity. You've adapted to fit into roles that others have assigned you, often losing sight of who you truly are. And then one day, something changes. You look at yourself in the mirror and see the truth. You've lived for others for so long, putting their needs above your own, that you've forgotten the most important person in your life, yourself. In that moment, you can no longer ignore the emptiness that you feel. It is your inner self, finally breaking through the noise of your responsibilities, calling out to you, asking, what if, for once, I chose me? It is a simple question, but one that holds immense power. This question marks the beginning of your transformation. For Carl Jung, this moment of self-discovery is a vital part of the process of individuation, the journey of becoming your true, authentic self. But make no mistake, this journey is not for the faint of heart. It requires a deep reckoning with everything you have known, everything you believe about yourself, and everything others have expected of you. And yet, as challenging as it may be, this is the moment that sets the stage for a profound inner transformation. The pushback, facing the resistance of others. When you finally decide to choose yourself, you will quickly notice that the world around you begins to react. Some will praise your newfound confidence and your courage to live authentically, but others will react with suspicion. They will criticize you, accuse you of becoming selfish, or tell you that you've changed. But in truth, you haven't changed. You've simply returned to who you always were, the person you were meant to be, before the pressures of the world molded you into something else. The discomfort that others feel when you choose to set boundaries and stop seeking their approval is not because you are doing something wrong. On the contrary, it's because your transformation forces them to confront their own lives, their own choices, and their own lack of authenticity. Not everyone will be ready for that, and not everyone will stay. This is a natural part of the process. When you begin to live authentically, some people will fall away, but those who remain will be the ones who see you for who you truly are, not for the role you have always played, not for the mask you've worn. They will appreciate you for your authenticity, not for your compliance. Jung understood this well. He knew that choosing to live authentically means that not everyone will follow you, but the ones who do will be those who are ready to walk the path of truth with you, who are ready to see beyond the surface and understand the depth of who you really are. Breaking free, the power of inner liberation. When you finally choose yourself, something extraordinary happens. You realize that you no longer have to prove anything to anyone. You no longer fear disappointing others or being judged. The need for approval that once dictated your every move begins to fade, and with it, the fear of not being enough. For the first time in your life, you are free from the chains of external validation. You can finally live according to your truth without guilt, without hesitation. Jung spoke of individuation, the process by which an individual becomes the most authentic version of themselves. It is not the version that society imposes on you. It is not the version that your family or friends expect. It is the version that resonates with your soul. The greatest consequence of this process is liberation. You will feel lighter, stronger, and more connected to your true self. Because, for the first time in your life, you are walking in the direction that is right for you, not based on what others have told you is right. As you continue down this path of self-discovery, you'll realize that the process isn't always linear or easy. It's not a one-time decision, but a continuous commitment to yourself. Carl Jung believed that the most profound transformation comes from integrating the parts of ourselves that we've hidden, ignored, or rejected. This is the true essence of individuation, the journey to become your truest, most authentic self. At first, you might find the world around you shifting in ways you didn't expect. People who were once close to you may suddenly seem distant, and relationships that once felt comfortable may begin to feel strained. You may be accused of changing or becoming selfish, but the reality is that what you are undergoing is not a change in character, but rather a return to the person you were always meant to be. When you choose yourself, it's like you are peeling away layers that were never truly yours. And as each layer falls away, it reveals the person you were meant to be all along. However, this process is not without its challenges. Choosing yourself is an act of rebellion, not against others, but against the limitations and expectations you've allowed others to impose on you. As you begin to take back your power, there may be resistance. Some may attempt to pull you back into the roles you've always played. They might call you selfish. They might try to guilt trip you, or they might act as though you betrayed them. But here's the truth. When you choose yourself, you're not rejecting anyone else. You're simply choosing to live your truth, to honor your essence, and to give yourself the permission you've always given others to step into your power. You are not responsible for anyone else's journey, only for your own. And this is the key to true freedom, the power of synchronicity. Once you make the decision to step into your authentic self, you'll begin to notice something extraordinary happening. Jung referred to this phenomenon as synchronicity, the alignment of events, opportunities, and people that appear in your life seemingly by chance, but in truth are the result of your authentic alignment with your true self. You might find that doors open that you never thought possible. People will enter your life who resonate with your new energy, and old, unfulfilling relationships may begin to fade away. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach may suddenly materialize. It's as though the universe is supporting your transformation because you've made the decision to live in harmony with your true nature. But let me be clear, synchronicity does not mean that everything will be smooth sailing. In fact, you may find yourself facing greater challenges than before. But these obstacles are not the sign of a wrong path. They are part of the process of individuation. The universe is testing you, making sure that you are strong enough to handle the new energy that's coming into your life. It's a test of your commitment to your true self. During this time, you may face doubts. Old fears may resurface, and moments of loneliness may feel overwhelming. But it's in these moments that the real transformation happens. When you face those fears, when you stand strong in the face of uncertainty, you'll come to realize that these doubts were never as powerful as you thought. They were just old voices trying to pull you back into the past, back to the person you used to be. The loneliness of transformation. One of the scariest parts of this journey is the feeling of loneliness that often accompanies it. As you begin to shed the roles you played for so long, you might feel as though you are walking alone. And for a time you may be, but let me tell you this, loneliness is not your enemy. It's your teacher. At first, loneliness may feel like a void of space you're unsure how to fill. But what if I told you that this void is actually an opportunity to reconnect with the most important person in your life, yourself. When you choose yourself, you stop relying on external sources of validation. You stop seeking approval from others, and you begin to realize that you are enough just as you are. As you learn to embrace this loneliness, you will begin to experience the freedom that comes with it. You'll no longer need the approval of others to feel whole. You'll no longer seek out toxic relationships or people who drain your energy. Instead, you will begin to cherish your own company, to enjoy the solitude that allows you to reflect, grow, and heal. And as you become more comfortable in your own presence, something extraordinary will happen. You will start to reconnect with parts of yourself that you had long forgotten. You'll rediscover passions that you had set aside, dreams that you had put on hold, and desires that were once buried beneath the weight of other people's expectations. You'll begin to understand that these desires were always a part of you waiting for you to remember them. Choosing yourself means giving yourself the space to explore who you truly are. It means allowing yourself to be curious, to embrace the unknown, and to trust that, even in moments of uncertainty, you are on the right path. The more you trust yourself, the more you'll realize that the only approval you need is your own. The courage to live authentically. Jung's idea of individuation goes beyond just choosing yourself. It's about the courage to live authentically. It's not enough to simply acknowledge your true self. You must also have the courage to live in alignment with it. This means making decisions based on your inner truth, not based on fear of judgment or the need to please others. It means saying no to what doesn't resonate with your soul and yes to what aligns with your essence, even if it means disappointing others. At first, this can feel terrifying. You may fear the consequences of your actions. You may worry that people will abandon you or that you'll lose something important. But the truth is that by living authentically, you will attract people who resonate with your true energy, people who will love and support you for who you really are. The people who leave your life during this time were never truly meant to be there in the first place. They were only there because you were playing a role that wasn't truly yours. As you continue on this path, remember this: you are enough. You don't need to change who you are to fit into someone else's mold. You don't need to sacrifice your happiness or your truth for the sake of others. True fulfillment comes when you choose to be yourself authentically, unapologetically, and courageously. What happens when you choose yourself? Choosing yourself is a radical act of self-love. It means putting your needs, desires, and dreams first, not out of selfishness, but out of the recognition that you are worthy of living a life that is true to who you are. And as you do this, you will begin to notice that the world responds differently. The people, opportunities, and experiences that align with your authentic self will begin to show up in ways you never imagined. But this journey is not for the faint of heart. It requires courage, patience, and resilience. There will be times when you feel lost, times when the path seems unclear. But I promise you, if you stay true to yourself, you will find your way. And here's the most important lesson. When you choose yourself, you are not only transforming your own life, but you are also contributing to the transformation of the world around you. You are showing others what it looks like to live authentically, to follow your truth, and to embrace who you really are. So ask yourself today, are you ready to choose yourself? Are you ready to embark on this journey of self-discovery, to embrace the unknown and to step into your true power? The choice is yours. If this message resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. The world needs more people who are brave enough to choose themselves. And remember, the greatest transformation begins the moment you decide to be yourself.